1969. And
I met Prabhupada in 69. I moved into the temple in 1970.
Give you a head start. So, but for a long time, longer than most people in this room have been on this planet, and
Still I haven't become a pure devotee. See my deficiencies.
I don't think you're gonna let me
I'm working on it.
I don't think you're gonna let me say anything to go over 5 years. But seriously, Maharaj is a very dedicated follower of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada's instructions, has been serving at various temples from University of Michigan and Detroit, and then most recently in San Diego, and has been serving as temple president and also GBC, and his sannyas, has taken sannyas, and so he's a sannyas in our movement, and Srila Prabhupada made an arrangement when he left the planet that there would be senior devotees that oversee the governance of ISKCON as an entity, and allow Srila Prabhupada's directions and instructions and spirit to penetrate into our society. So Maharaj is our GBC representative for our West Coast and for our temple in particular. And just a wonderful, dedicated, sweet devotee.
That's enough.
Okay,
thank you very much.
So he's gonna engage
May
all
the words someday become true.
So you won't get bored, I can guarantee you that with the upcoming lecture. So please listen to Hare Krishna. Let's welcome Maharaj with a loud Hari Bol.
Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Staya Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami. Oh, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vicharini Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Vaskicha Disatari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Well, thank you all for coming. These deities, the Lord are very, very beautiful. I'm very fortunate. I thought that I would talk a little bit on a section in the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. It's called Enlightenment from the Natural Path. And it's, let's see, it's examples from nature, and that we can draw a spiritual lesson for them. So I thought that's, well, you'll see. Hare Krishna. But let me ask you this first. You know, a train runs on 2 tracks. Okay, fine. There's monorails, you know, but work with me. Generally speaking, a train runs on 2 tracks. Similarly, Prabhupada said, our spiritual life runs on 2 tracks. Human life is meant to run on 2 tracks. And those 2 tracks, as a material, we have our duties, our occupation, our obligations in this world. And in the other track is our spiritual life, our spiritual duties. If you neglect one rail or the other, the train will derail, it'll go off the track, you know. You have to stay on both tracks. So we have to do our occupational duties, our duty to our family, our duty to, so many things. But most people focus on that side of the equation, that rail, doing our material duty, and they don't spend time on their spiritual duties. And it's like what they used to call the British sailors limeys, because they used to get a disease called scurvy, and I think it's a deficiency in vitamin C. Yeah, so they used to take limes with them, the lime fruit, because they, you could sustain them on a long voyage. They didn't spoil as fast, and that's why they were called limeys. But the point is that, or maybe it's rickets. I forget what you get. It's rickets, yeah. So if you have a deficiency in your diet, you become diseased. So in a similar way, we live in a society, in a culture that's deficient in its diet. We take care of so many other. I was saying to some parents the other day, a good parent, they teach the kid how to cross the street, how to brush their teeth. As soon as the kid's born, they're making plans how to save money to put into college. So we're very attentive on that side of the equation. But what about the spiritual side of the equation? Can we shut that door? I was at some kids group, of Hindu families, and I asked the kids, how many of you know Batman? What is this kid? Now this will not work. Every kid gets 3 strikes. Mataji. Every kid gets 3 strikes because it's tough for the babies to sit. It's tough for the mothers. It distracts the audience. I'm scratch. But 1, 2, 3, third time, bye-bye. Is that okay? You stay. They get 3 strikes. Third time, like American baseball, okay? So that's 1 freebie. Now that's 2. All right. That's a nice boy. What's his name? Rasraj. That's a nice boy. So the point I'm trying to make. So you've got a family. They teach the kid how to cross the street. Don't take candy from strangers. How to brush your teeth. Get them a good education. And if you don't do that, it's child abuse. But what about? So I was a group of kids. They all knew Batman. They knew, Transformers. I don't know whatever this and that was. They all knew about this movie, that movie. And then I asked them, do you know who's Hanuman? Do you know who Arjuna is? Blanks. They didn't know. But if you don't learn about the heroes and the heroines, Draupadi, Kunti Devi, how are you going to develop values and culture, charity, nobility? How are you going to develop your character? So, human form of life is meant for cultivating spiritual knowledge. Atato Brahma Jigyasya. Now, Vedanta Sutra begins. Now you've got human form of life, but what's it meant for? To live like a sophisticated dog and cat? It's meant for self-realization, and that will make us happy. We'll get there in a minute. But the point I'm trying to make is, well, let me ask you this. So knowledge is compared to different things. There you go. Knowledge is, why is knowledge compared to a boat? No, that's just one. He gets two more. He gets two more. Maybe we'll get lucky. So, why is knowledge compared to a boat? It's made from dead wood? No, I mean, anybody want to guess? No wrong answer. If it's not the right answer, you still get prashad. Don't worry. We'll be friends. Why is knowledge like a boat?
It helps us cross the material ocean.
It crosses over the ocean of birth and death. And that's our real mission, to get free from this. So knowledge is like a boat. Why is knowledge compared to a fire? Now you got one already. You got to give other people a chance. Why is knowledge like a fire? Anyone want to guess?
Once the darkness of our heart.
That's that word. That's when if you say, why is it like a lamp? It helps us see the path. So knowledge is like, it's compared to light. It helps us see the path over out of this world. But there's another reason why knowledge. What does a fire do? Heat and light, okay, fine. It consumes things. So knowledge actually burns up our karma. If we know how to act properly, it's actually a freeing agent. So it's like a boat. It's like a lamp. It shows us the way. It is like a fire that burns up. And why? We'll end with this one. This I set up. But why is knowledge like shoes? Shoes are unclean. Anybody want to guess why knowledge is like shoes? You can guess, and we'll still be friends.
It protects us.
You're on the right stream. How does it protect us? If I'm walking barefoot, what's my experience?
You step on thorns.
Yeah, you step on thorns. How far can you walk? It's painful. You can't go very. Your feet get cut up. Forget it. But you put on shoes, you can cross over sticks, stones, rocks, no problem. So it helps us traverse the path. In the same way, human form of life, we're meant to, you know what the word Latin, the word education has a Latin root, comes from Latin, and it means to draw forth, to bring out, as from darkness into light. Education is not just a random, 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue or whatever. It's not the random collection of facts. It's actually meant to draw us from darkness into light. So this is enlightenment from the natural path. It's meant to give us some direction. This body is called Artada. It can give the greatest gift. And that greatest gift is it can bring us to full knowledge and happiness. Okay, so let's start with one. Why is knowledge like a tree? Let me say it this way. What can we learn from a tree? Okay, one at a time. Who said? Tolerance. Very good. Trinadapi Sunichena, Todoreva Sehishana, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. Okay, what else can we learn from a tree?
Strong foundation.
Strong foundation. Redwood trees, they don't have deep roots. Did you know that? But I think it's the largest living thing. Okay. So how they hold together, and then you see that they grow in groves, in clusters, grooves. And what they do is they knit their roots together. And they make like a wide platform. So that's how they don't fall over. They don't have a deep tap root that goes down. They make it. So in a similar way, we need each other. We work together, we support each other, And that way you can stand against the adversities in life. So that's something we can learn from a tree. How to cooperate, how to work together, how to support each other. We can learn to be tolerant. What else? These are all from the Bhagavatam, from that enlightenment, from the natural path. What does generally, okay, trees, I made a slip there. Trees make fibers and fuel and things like that. But what else do trees provide?
Shelter.
I hadn't thought of shelter. They give shade. What's another thing they do? Fruits, flowers, and they don't discriminate. You sit under a shade tree, and the tree never pulls in its branches and says, I don't like you, no shade for you. They don't criticize. They distribute equally to everyone. You know, if trees are tolerant, people carve, Sammy loves Sally on the tree, and dogs offer their respects in their unique way. Trees, hey, come on, They're very tolerant. So you can learn different things from the tree. So that's one we can learn from a tree. Now, we can also learn from, let's see. What can we learn from the moon?
It nourishes.
Ignorations.
Nourishes.
Nourishes.
Nourishment.
Yes.
Oh, very intelligent. I hadn't thought of that one. That's good.
Illuminate.
Illuminate is also very good. It's very soothing illumination too. Nitai Padakamala, like Lord Nityananda, they're soothing lotus feet. The example the Bhagavatam gives, the moon is famous, nice light, this and that. But what else does a moon go through? Phases. Does the moon, there's a little sliver of a moon, there's a quarter moon, there's a full moon. Does the moon actually change? It was the reflection of the sun at a particular angle, The moon stays the same. The moon is constant, but it appears to be changing. Similarly, we think we're this body, we're old, we're going through different phases of life. But the body is just, like the moon goes through its phases, but the moon remains constant. We're actually the eternal soul within the moon. We're not black, we're not white, we're not Chinese, we're not old, we're not young, we're not male, we're not female. That's just the car we're driving in. And that's that baby. Is that our little friend in the corner? It's a different one. We got an abundance of enthusiasm. Where is that baby? Nobody wants to confess, because that is one strike. Okay, just keep going, because it distracts the audience. So that's why something we can learn from the moon. What can we learn from a bee? What can we learn from a bee? Yes, young man.
It never stays in one flower. It goes to different flowers.
Where is this kid? Mataji, that's two. Okay. What can we learn from what you used? I hadn't thought of that. What's that one? Well, who said about bee?
Oh wait, me.
What's that?
I said that it goes to different flowers. It never stays in one.
Okay. What is a spiritual? Now you already had a chance. What's a spiritual answer?
We never stay in one body.
That's a good one. You thought of that all on your own. That's one that's not in the Bhagavatam, but it's very good. It's nice. The bee works hard. Busy as a bee. Make a beeline. You never see a bee just chilling, laid back, No, bees are focused. They're very busy. And what is the business of the bee? Huh? Yeah, it collects pollen and makes honey. So that's its business. It's very busy focused on making honey. But who enjoys the honey? The beekeeper comes, smokes out the bees, and takes all the honey. So we're working very hard. People work hard. But death comes, takes everything. I saw a bumper sticker. It said, the one who dies with the most toys wins. But if you think about it, you may collect all the toys, but what's going to come for sure? Death comes, you got to leave all the toys behind. Dimwit relatives inherit all the toys, and you go on to who knows where, empty-handed. So we're working very hard, like a bee, focused, but we never really get to enjoy it. At the time of death, everything's gone. So that's something we can learn detachment from the bee, and to not spend our time in a useless endeavor. Okay, now what can we learn from, let's see, what can we learn from the ocean?
Deep.
I'm thinking of a verse in Bhagavad Gita. It's deep, okay, well, so what?
We can be deep in our spiritual sadhana.
When you look at the ocean, they call them white caps. You know, the wind will be blowing. Mataji. Thank you very much. And he'll be happier, I guarantee. He will. They think, why is this guy droning on and my mom's telling me be quiet? But let him go do whatever he wants. Okay, thank you very much. So on the ocean, it's always disturbed. It's, all the white caps and it's churn like that. But this is your point. When you go down deep, deep, it's very steady. It's very peaceful. So someone who's deep in knowledge, they're not so disturbed on the surface. And things in life, there's so many disturbances. Krishna says in Gita, the rivers enter into the ocean, but the ocean remains undisturbed. And if you think about that, you can Google it, but somebody was telling me what the flow of water of the Amazon into the Atlantic, it's billions of tons of water. And you think about it, there's the Mississippi, there's the Ganga, there's the Congo, there's the Volga. You think about it, if I leave the faucet on in a bathtub, it doesn't take long for it to overflow. But you think about all those mighty rivers, billions of tons flowing into the ocean. And you can walk quite, what they call the tide water or whatever it is, There's, where the tides go in and out at a certain time of the day, depending on the tide. It's not all of a sudden going to flood over everything. You leave all the faucets on, the faucet on in a bathtub, it'll flood over everything. But you look at all those mighty rivers flowing into the ocean, and the ocean is steady. So one of the advantages of spiritual knowledge, the proof is that one's peaceful, one's steady. There will be problems in life. You can count on it. This world by nature is a troubling place. And in the age of Kali, it is a constant disturbance in this world. But one who's deep in spiritual life, deep in Krishna consciousness, they're not disturbed. So that's what we can learn from the ocean. And we'll take, what time is it? We'll take one more and see if you have some questions. Well, I'll give you this example. We're always thinking that the person next to us, like what they say, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. So, I'm trying to think of how this one goes. The farmer is working hard in the field. It's hard work, outdoor, heavy lifting. And he's thinking, I work hard, and I produce the grains. What happens to them? I get taken to the grain merchant, He's got a thumb on the scale, and it won't give me much money. It's a discount price and this and that. He said, if only I was the grain merchant, I'd be so much happier. Working hard in the field, and the grain merchants indoor, no heavy lifting, sitting down. I'd be so happy if I was the grain merchant. Now, what is the grain merchant thinking? The grain merchant is thinking, I got to deal with these farmers. They're giving me bad grains and bags that are half full, and I got to hassle with this and that. And what for? The tax man comes, takes all my money. Jeez, if I was the tax man, I would be happy. Now, what is the tax man thinking? Tax man is thinking, nobody likes me. I knock on their front door, lights go out, doors click, nobody home. Nobody likes to see the tax man. You get a letter from the IRS, and no one likes that. So, tax man's thinking, and what for? I got to give it all to the king. I'm just his agent. I'm losing my, look at that, 2 down. Let's see if I can break my record. Thank you very much, Michael. So, if only, and what is it for? All the taxes go to the king. I'm ruining my reputation, and everything goes to the king. If only I was the king, I'd be so happy. We're almost done. So, now, what is the king thinking? The king is thinking, what is it? Heavy lays the head that bears the crown. I think that's from Shakespeare or whatever. You got to be the king. Everybody blames you for everything. You got to be responsible. You got to worry about political intrigue. You got to take care of the citizens. It's a tough job. And the king is sitting there in his courtroom, sorting out all the issues. And he's looking out the window of his palace, and he sees the farmer in the field. And he thinks, if only I was a farmer, I'd be no worries, no burdens. If only I was the farmer. So you follow? Everybody's thinking the person next to them is happy. But the real thing is, conditions do not make us happy. We are all thinking, if I just get and everybody's working for it. I want to get the right conditions. And if you think about it, you ever seen people juggle? People still juggle. If you go to a circus. I mean, they start off with one item. They got an orange. They got that one. And then they had a dish. And then they got that one. They had a candelabra. And they got that. After a while they got that. I don't know what they got. What else is a good thing to juggle? But they're concentrated. And they can juggle them all, And it's not easy. They can't talk to you or what's happening, how about how about the Ducks? Is that your big football basketball team? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not talking about the Ducks. He's thinking about, how am I going to juggle all these things? And life is like that. If you think about it, you got to have the right weather. You got to be in the right place. Yeah, it's too rainy and, where are we? We're in Portland. Okay, but you're in Tucson, Arizona, or Phoenix. It's the gates to hell there. It's hot. To think of we could use some rain here. So you got to have the right conditions. You got to be in the right place. You got to be with the right people. You got to be in with the in crowd, right? You got to have money. You don't have money. So you've got to juggle. You got to be in good health. You can be in the right place with the right people, with money. You're not in good health. You're miserable. So everybody's trying to juggle these conditions. Right place, right circumstance, plenty of money, good health, right people. It's hard work. So we're thinking that we've got to have the right conditions. But what does Krishna say about the material nature? It is constantly mutable. In the Gita, it is always shifting. If my happiness, what did the Buddhists say? Nothing is certain but change. If my happiness depends on conditions, and the conditions a priori, it's certified, axiomatic, the conditions will change. Help me out with this. If my happiness depends on conditions, and conditions by design are always changing, what does that say about my happiness if it's based on conditions? Yes, young man.
It's always changing.
Yeah, it's insecure. As they say in California, if your happiness depends on conditions, you're cruising for a bruising. It's going to shift, and therefore there's always an underlying angst or anxiety in this. That's why it's called the spiritual world is Vaikuntha. There's no anxiety, and the material world is called Kunta. There's always an esoteric anxiety because things are going to shift. So, but if we become spiritually conscious, if our happiness is service to Krishna, is Krishna, do we have to juggle a bunch of conditions? Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yome Bhakta Priyachate. Anyone know what that verse means in the Gita? Yeah, you know this one? All right.
It means you can patram pushpam phalam toyam, which means water, leaves, fruit, and flower.
Okay, now you 10 points for you. Give that man an extra Rasgula. So, let me ask you this. Is it difficult to get a little bit of water? It's not a big deal. It's not. Krishna's not asking. He's not asking for, organic pomegranate juice flown in from Afghanistan. He's eating a little water. He's not demanding. Is it hard to get a leaf? Of course, he's talking about a tulsi leaf. But we had no money in the Ann Arbor temple. It was those early days. So, and it was in the wintertime. It was hard to get flowers. So Prabhupada said we could offer a little sprig off a fir tree. It has a nice pine scent. So Prabhupada said you don't have any money, okay, you can offer a little, So you can offer, tulsi's ideal, but you offer Krishna a little leaf, you offer a little water, you offer a little flower. It's not asking for much. Prabhupada says if you can't find a fruit or a flower or some water, you're so poverty-stricken, you can't even scrape that up. You can't even borrow from your neighbors. Prabhupada says you can fold your hands and cry, and Krishna will accept. So it's easy to serve Krishna. Happiness depending on conditions, that's a difficult thing. Well, I'm looking at, what time is it? Because they pulled the curtain. Okay. I'll tell 2 stories and we'll be finished. How it's easy to serve Krishna, and it doesn't depend on conditions. Vishnujan Maharaj and Tamal Krishna Maharaj, 2 of the early heroes of our ISKCON movement, they told me a story. What's going on here? They told me a story. Hey, what's going on? Sorry to be the mean sannyasi, but it comes naturally. So they were traveling in a bus, and they would do different programs at different colleges. They were, of course, you have to understand this is the 70s, early 80s in America. I mean, if you went out dressed like this and shaved head, they were wondering where the mothership is, why you're aliens, or they're trying to figure out what's going on. Buddhists that took a wrong turn in Thailand, what are you doing here? So they did a Harinam chanting downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee. It is the buckle of the Bible Belt. And they threw the devotees in jail. Now, the party was all brahmacharis. Prabhupada said young man means hungry. Garen, you can wake a young man up at 2 o'clock in the morning and offer some halwa, and they'll take it gratefully. So the devotees were on their way to the Dallas temple, and they were dreaming about the Sunday feast. Yeah, young man, hungry, nice prasadam, been living on khichdi every day. They think, I'm going to get to Dallas and get some rasgullas and some puris and a nice paneer sabji. They were dreaming about that. All of a sudden, in Chattanooga, Tennessee, they're locked in jail. So no feast. So they were in anxiety about it. And the nectar of the nectar of devotion, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami, had just come out. And it's described there how the one devotee didn't have much money. He was a poor Brahmin, but he was serving Manaseva, serving within the mind, and made sweet rice in his mind. You know the story there in Nectar of Devotion? Yeah, you must have. So the devotees thought, Vishnu Jan Maharaj said, hey, wait a minute. We'll just cook and offer a feast within our mind. So the devotees got into it. They're in a group, a big cell. And one devotee was in his mind, pantomime. It's chopping vegetables. Another devotee's rolling puris. Another devotee's frying samosas. Now all this is going on in the one cell, The local police, Bobby Joe and whatever, they get a little nervous. They are, they're not sure if we're from outer space. And then they see, doing this whole thing. And then the devotees made up a nice plate, all within the mind, pantomime. And the devotees playing air, mridangam, playing kartals, and Tagore, Hari Hari Bol. And the local police are getting really nervous by this time. Then they all sat down, and everybody went around and served out prasadam. Vishnu Jan Maharaj said it was the only feast he ever went to when there was plenty of everything, every prep you wanted, and everything was cooked perfectly. So the devotees are relishing within their mind the prasadam. The police are really nervous by this time. And then one of the devotees made up an imaginary plate, put an imaginary spoon, and said, would you like a plate? The police said, hey, that's it, but you're out. They literally unlocked. They said, just northeast, southwest, pick a direction, but you're out of here. Just don't come back. And the devotees made it. They drove all the way to Dallas, and got there just in time for the feast. So it's an extreme example. But we can serve Krishna in any condition, with any facility. It doesn't pretend. You can be an old man. You can be an old lady. You can be a little kid. You could be that drunk. That's all right. Shanti, shanti. So, and one last thing. There was a man who was blind, poverty-stricken, and blind, and no children. So, no family, poverty-stricken, and blind. And he was given one wish, and you can't wish for unlimited wishes. Nice try. You only get one wish. You got, 3 problems, 1 wish. What did you wish for? Anybody want to guess? He wished to see his family from the roof of his palace. You follow? With one wish, he accomplished all 3. We all want to become happy. But if we learn, Prabhupada said, you think you're sitting on the floor, I'm sitting on the hand of Krishna. So a devotee, Yokesh Mam Vahami Aham, if Krishna doesn't give it to, let me ask you one question. We'll get in, but we all, what's the answer to unanswered prayers? I'm praying. I mean, people go to the top of the Himalayas. They put, prayers in bottles. How do I get the message to Krishna? Of course, Krishna's in our heart. He already hears it. Even if it's unspoken, Krishna knows what we want. So Krishna hears our prayers. That's certified. Krishna's all-powerful, right? Omnipotent, omnipotent. If he wanted to, he could fulfill our prayer. He hears our prayer, and if he wanted to, he could fill it. And he's all merciful. Karuna Sindhu. He's an ocean of mercy. Well, then why doesn't he? He hears it, he could fill it, and yet he doesn't. Well, what's with that? God is capricious and cruel. Why doesn't Krishna answer our prayer? Now, most children, of course this is an exceptional group, I'm sure, but most kids, they don't want to go to school, and they don't want to eat vegetables. They want to eat candy and play all day. Now does the parent, if the parent has the power, the parent is merciful, the parent can hear what the child is asking for, does a good parent not let the kid go to school and feed him candy all day? Is that a good parent? You ever seen a kid throw a tantrum? I was at Trader Joe's the other day, and a kid threw a full-on tantrum. Threw himself down on the floor, kicking. It was a full-blown, no-holds-barred tantrum, It was all coming out. So, what was I going to say? So, it slips my mind. I'm still thinking about the kid in the tantrum.
The parent.
Help me out.
Why can't Krishna fulfill all?
There. Way to go. Just making sure you're listening. I actually forgot. So the what about the good parent? Because you're hoping this is what they're going to do for you. The kid, you don't have to go to school, and you just let the kid eat candy and ice cream. The parent knows, if I do this, if I fulfill the desire, the prayers of my child, by the time the kid's 25, he's going to be an unemployed, toothless idiot. That didn't work out. And the kid will curse him. Why didn't you make me go to school? Why didn't you make me, what? It's your fault that I wound up like this. So Krishna knows what's good for us. And the real thing is to become a pure devotee of Krishna, to learn to love Krishna. Doesn't matter whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or a janitor. It doesn't matter what you are. You give the fruits of your labor to Krishna. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. You know that Krishna's protecting and preserving what I have. You're happy in any condition. And that's the real goal, how to become genuinely happy. So we can end there, because we're a little over time. And thank you for sitting so patiently. Hare Krishna. I'm going to take this kid with me. He can travel with me. He's a smart boy. Okay. Now, do we have a play?
No, we have Arti.
Oh, we have Arti. Then we have a play.
Yeah. Sorry. So, quick announcement. I just sent a message by one of the devotees. There's a Toyota minivan, 943 EEQ. If it's parked in a neighbor's driveway, and it has to be moved. Did you hear?
I think that's my parents.
That's yours?
I think it's my parents.
Okay. If they can move the car.
They have a saying that when you're living in the water, don't pick a fight with a crocodile. You got to keep friendly with your neighbor. Otherwise, they're going to call the police at midnight on John Mustin. Okay, so now what happens?
Do you want to see if anybody has questions?
Do I need to move?
I think you're okay for now. Does anybody have questions?
No, I'll be late.
Okay,
I
All right.
think we should roll on.
let's stand up and join in kirtan. Can I borrow this now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have kirtan till, I believe, at 1 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, the devotees will come for the plate. So,
Huh? No, I'll because they're going to use a player. I will also up there.
maybe once we work with people come out, right now, so we kirtan.
Shri Srinivasa Chimandana ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur